everybody. How are y'all doing today? I'm Jules of Thought. Well, this is my channel, Jules of Thought, but you can just call me Jules. And today is April 22nd, 2022. And it's Friday. Thank God. Now then, I've missed so much this week. I missed so much this week. First of all, the great heartache of Linda Stanley's failure to run a competent prosecution against a man who was accused of the possible murder or disappearance of his wife, who all the charges have been dismissed. There remain a few charges related to voter fraud. Those charges had been separated out already, so they're in another. That's a different case. So that Barry Morphew is not gone forever from the spotlight. Although a lot of people have been saying that. When I say people, I mean like news people. I get it. His defense team is fairly litigious. They love using the law to punish people. But I do think that, I think there was a rush to sort of disengage from previous opinions about Barry Morphew, things that may have been said publicly in fear that, Iris Eaton is going to make good on her threats to sue anyone that had a single sad, negative, skeptical, angry thought or word to say about Barry Morphew. And she may very well follow through. They do appear to be fairly cozy. Looks like Barry and Iris may have made pretty good friends in this course. Honestly, I don't know how you would go through a process like this and not become friends with your attorney. Maybe some kind of weird like Florence Nightingale syndrome kind of deal. But I'm not gonna make this declaration of, I thought all along, he was innocent. I'm not going there. I stand by every word that I've said. And the reason that I stand by what I've said is because we know there are behaviors that people associate with abusive relationships. And the Alliance in Colorado did an exceptional job of putting out those facts that Barry Morphew himself, in his own questioning with the detectives, admitted to. Holding your spouse in a closet and putting a gun to your head and saying that you're going to kill yourself if that spouse doesn't do what you want them to do. Yes, Barry, that's abusive. I think Johnny Depp said it the best himself. Why do you want to hit someone just to make them agree with you? Of course it's abusive. Of course it is. So, of course, the judge, Ramsey Lama, he dismissed the charges without precedent. I'm sorry, without prejudice. And, a lot of people came out and said, well, this lays the groundwork for refiling the case and doing it in a way that the prosecution doesn't destroy the case. Linda, I would agree, look, I'm going to just say it. I believe that if they had gone through with the case and gone to trial, I think a jury would have found him guilty. I believe that in my heart. Iris Eaton said at the press conference that they would not refile the case because there's not one shred of physical evidence against Barry Morphew. So she said they don't have a body, and all that. So, I think they could have won, but at the rate that this thing was going, the behavior of the prosecutor's office, there's some curious things about this case. Curious and bigger than me. All right. This is not my battle. It's not my circus, not my monkeys, but I do think between the CBI and the prosecutor's behavior repeatedly, how long have you been a prosecutor? How long have you been an attorney? You can't manage to make a deadline. You can't manage to get discovery over to the defense. So this case really never really looked like, to me, this case never looked like the officials that were involved wanted it to go. It looked like, to me, people were searching for a way out all along. And you have to ask yourself why. I don't know why. I just find it, shockingly heartbreaking. Why do I find it shockingly heartbreaking? Because too many children have died at the hands of parents that were supposed to love them and protect them. And too many wives have died, or girlfriends have died at the hands of people that were supposed to love them. Or Solia Gall, they just arrested her boyfriend of 2 years. 2 years she had been going out with this guy while she's married. 2 years she'd been going out with him. He killed her. So when you're talking about a physical power differential of a grown man compared to a grown female, and notice in how many of these situations were the women very small, tiny, petite women, right? Look at it. So, but by comparison, you look at Jodi Arias, who was like 5'5" and weighed like 160 pounds, and she was solid muscle. That 160 pounds was not fat. That was bone structure and muscle. And she was strong enough and fierce enough that she slaughtered Travis Alexander. Why is it? Look at Solia and Suzanne Morphew. Look at the size of them, how tiny and unable to match the power of allegedly the men that harmed them. We got to do better. Something has gone terribly wrong in our culture, that we're not teaching men the danger of their size, that size matters when you're talking about high velocity blunt force trauma. High velocity blunt force trauma, Barry Morphew's fist was sufficient to hit Suzanne in the right place in her skull. It would have been finished with no kind of help, with no weapon at all. If Suzanne had had a baseball bat, she might have had maybe a 50% chance of getting out of there. But certainly with someone as large and bulked up with muscle as Barry Morphew, even if she hit him as hard as she could when Barry Morphew wasn't even paying attention, it wouldn't have been enough to kill Barry. So we, you may be one of those people that's on that bandwagon of, if you hit a guy, then it's fair game. The guy can hit back. If you're going to go toe to toe with the guy, then it's fair game that the guy can go back. You may be one of those people that have told your daughters and your sons that message. But I'm going to tell you what you've done. You've not set your son up to be protective of himself. You set your son up to go to jail for murdering someone. And I'm 100% on board that our girls have to know hitting is never an option. Never. You draw the line, guys. A female slaps you one time. I don't care if it's on your arm or your face or what it is. You walk. It's done. Don't stick around for the escalation. But for God's sake, don't react in like kind, because you may find yourself being charged with murder or manslaughter, right? So we got. I remain angry about the prosecution's mishandling of the evidence that they did have. I believe wholeheartedly, circumstantially, I think they had absolutely more than enough to convict Barry Morphew. And through the bumbling, never-ending circus of Linda Stanley's prosecution, it all got thrown out. I told y'all that about Iris Eaton and her friend, that they were gonna try the case before it ever got to court, and they would take one piece of evidence at a time and systematically go through and have each one thrown out. And it was like the prosecution was helping them go through that process. So it's done. And the only saving grace from it is that the charges were dismissed without prejudice. So they can refile, starts over fresh. All of the previous expert witnesses, they can come back and be put on the witness list. It's a mulligan. It's a do-over. They get to start over at nothing. So I've had a lot of people send emails and have questions and stuff about that. It's absolutely true. It's a fresh startup. If they recharge Barry tomorrow, it's just like he was never charged in the beginning. It's like he was never charged. So, okay. That being said, this deal with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard has been amazing in terms of how interesting it is. It is in my opinion, I didn't always believe this, but I am now of the opinion that Johnny Depp is the one who is the victim of domestic abuse. I'm convinced wholeheartedly. I think that her team, I think her cross-examination, it's been a disaster for Amber Heard. It's been an unmitigated disaster for Amber Heard. About the only thing that they have been able to do in terms of getting points, they've proven that Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow, drinks too much, loves marijuana, and occasionally cusses. Well, you could have figured that out by reading the National Enquirer, right? We know that about the man. He hasn't kept it a secret. Now, there are a lot of other things that we've learned about Johnny Depp. For one, he is delightful. His personality, oh, he's a gem, literally. He's charming. He's funny. He's tender and vulnerable. Would I want him as a boyfriend, as a husband? No, very unstable. But would I want him as a friend? Oh my God. I would want him as a friend. I would want to take him everywhere with me because he's so interesting. He's so interesting. By comparison, I think it's come out that Amber Heard is a gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful woman who lacks substance. She seems to be kind of that iconic starlet who's just starving for recognition and fame and money. And that has, that has led her to make some poor decisions, I think, not only in her love choices, but also in terms of her career. I think after all that's happened between Elon Musk and Johnny Depp, it may be very hard for her to get a good role. I think it might be hard to do. There were some crazy, unflattering things that came out about her in the trial. We'll talk a little bit more about that, what that means, why it happened. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to go through I've got 2 clips that I want to go through, where we're actually listening to a recording of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp having an argument, and talk about that a little bit. And then I'm going to end my live. I'm going to come back with a new live, and we're going to start yesterday's testimony. And I'm going to kind of go through it like I did with the Jodi Arias testimony, but especially yesterday's, especially from a psychology point of view. It is so much information to talk about. It was so complicated, the dynamics and things that happened on the stand. So that's what I'm going to do today. So I don't know how bad are those birds a bother? Are the birds a real problem? I think they are, aren't they? I'm going to move them out of my bedroom before I start my big video, but we're going to go ahead and do the recording right now. So stay with me. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, give me 1 minute. I want Okay, now I want to stop this for a second. Let me make sure that you guys can hear me and see me, because the other day I talked and y'all couldn't hear me. If you can hear me, put a 1. Uh-oh, I see a lot of people saying sound. You can't hear me anymore? Can you hear me? Put a 1, 2, 3, 25, 32, 420. Oh no, you can't hear me. Oh, some of you can. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so let me give you fair warning. Okay, the reason that I wanted to pick this clip and talk about this is because this is where Johnny Depp, they claim that Johnny Depp is begging Amber Heard. I'm sorry, I got the background. Amber Heard is begging Johnny Depp not to cut himself. Now, that is the reason that her attorneys are playing this clip. Is this is supposed to go toward the notion that Johnny cut his finger off, not Amber. All along, it's been Amber cut my finger off. She threw a bottle of vodka. She threw a bottle of vodka. It slammed my finger. It shattered. And when it shattered, it broke. It cut my finger off. Okay. So this recording is being played so that it's a way of life for Johnny Depp to cut himself. That this is a habit that he has. This is something he does, is to cut himself. Now, the reason that you see his head down, he is actually crying. This was one of the few times that I've seen him really, really get emotional. He is actually crying. You can look at her and tell she's fairly moved. And you can also look at the bottom and see just how far into the clip I went. All that red that you see that I didn't play, that's heartbreaking to listen to. It is literally heartbreaking. Okay. I can't even tell you. And I thought to myself, I said, I think I want to play the whole clip just for to get a good feel for the climate, of what was happening. But ultimately I decided it was just way too triggery. It's powerful. It's very powerful. It was a horrible situation. Johnny Depp has just discovered that Amber Heard is having an affair with a co-star on a movie she's working on. He's just found out. He's trying to make sense of it. He's been beaten and abused and manipulated and mistreated before finding out that she's messing around on him. He's grieving, and he is in immense pain, emotional pain. And he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to deal with all the emotion that he is experiencing. And so it sounds like he's sort of pushing her. He's got a knife. He's like, he's going to cut himself. And then he begs her. He says, he says, cut me or something like that. She said, I would never do that to you. And he says, but you don't understand. Cutting me would not be as painful as you being with another man. So it is very dramatic. And what we've learned of Johnny Depp is he is dramatic. He is uber drama queen. Okay. I mean, the words he speaks, I mean, even a text message is poetic, right? He seems like this old thespian, Shakespearean thespian, born when he was 60 years old into the body of an infant. It just seems like an old soul kind of from, the 1800s, the way he talks and the way he carries himself. And so he's really, really in pain in this clip. And it really made me angry that they played this, because it's a view into one of the worst moments of his entire life. You could see the pain that he was experiencing as he was listening to this. And shame on Amber Heard. This really shows just how low she's willing to go, because she is the one that knows that this conversation that they're having doesn't have a damn thing to do with what happened to his finger. It has nothing to do with what happened to his finger. And she's literally choosing one of the most intimate, private, devastating moments of Johnny's life, and you would assume her life, and airing it out there for all the world to see, and trying to say this is proof that he didn't hurt himself. And what I want you to listen to, the reason that I chose to tell you what is on the clip rather than to play it, is because it is very difficult and tragic, and it is horribly triggering. But I want you to hear what he says at the end, right before they end the clip, right before they turn it off. He makes a comment about the actual cutting, like whether he would cut himself or not. And I want you to listen to the tone in his voice, and you tell me, is this a man who usually cuts himself? Or is this a guy who is at the end of his rope and has no idea what to do with this 20-something-year-old demon from hell that has invaded his life and turned his life upside down? So let's take a listen now.
The knife is really dull, and it would be the worst thing in the world to use to cut me with. It would be too painful and dull and dirty to use. Yeah, that's the tip of it. Right? It's pretty. No, please do not. Don't. You're going to hurt yourself. Don't. It's okay. Please don't cut yourself. Please don't. Please stop. Please stop. Please. Don't hurt yourself.
That's him hitting the wall.
Myself at all.
He says at the end, I would never hurt myself at all. And then he throws the knife. And then they cut it off. He says to her, I would never hurt myself at all. So she's playing out this big, huge drama. I mean, listen to her voice again. She's making this out to be this huge deal that, she's begging and pleading.
Don't. It's okay. Please don't cut yourself. Please don't. Please stop. Please stop. Please.
And there he is hitting the wall.
Myself at all.
No, I've never hurt myself at all. And he throws the knife down. And then you see this effect on him. I mean, Johnny Depp is just about crawling under the chair to get away from this painful, horrible nightmare that he's living through at the hands of this woman, right? So then immediately, and what you're seeing here that I chose not to play, what you're seeing there is as soon as this devastating, I can't even tell you, devastating video is played of this man who is hurt so bad. He emotional, he is so hurt. And he's talking about this whole infidelity discovery, and he can't believe how bad it hurts him. And after they play this, he's on the stand. He's completely humiliated by the whole thing. The guy jumps up and says, "Oh, Judge, I'm going to have more questions. I think this is a really great place for us to stop for the weekend." So Johnny Depp doesn't even get an opportunity to even speak and say, I don't hurt myself. I don't engage in self-harm. I'm not suicidal. That was me reacting to the discovery of infidelity and trying to get Amber to understand the amount of pain that it was that I was experiencing emotionally because of the discovery of the infidelity. He says, you hear it plain as day, I would never, ever hurt myself. And he throws the knife down. It's sort of like he's using it to show her that what she's doing and saying is foolish. It's wrong. And here's what I think. I think the source of these recordings, or not all of them, but some of them, I think she is saying and doing things that really don't make sense for what's actually happening, with the idea that one day there will be a lawsuit where she is going to accuse Johnny Depp of abuse in a bid to get some of his millions. I've listened to too many of these recordings where she says things that are so just crazy, like, no, Johnny, don't hurt me, don't hit me. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, what? I hit you? well, I'm not trying to hit you. So I think he got taken for a ride. I think that she chose him. He was an older guy. He had some drug problems. I think she thought he would be an easy target. She also targeted Elon Musk. Again, older guy, probably a little aspy. Um, but for him, he was like, no, you're beautiful, but you're crazy. So goodbye. I don't need you in my life, right? So he escaped it. But Johnny Depp was like the perfect target because of this dramatic romantic that lives inside of him. In one of his texts, he's talking about Amber Heard, and he calls her the most beautiful angel that God sent to him, who brings his darkest, most intimate nightmares to life. It's like, cool, my God, Johnny, that's really, no one should ever have a thought that deep, right? So he's just kind of, he's always just a swirl of emotion, the way he talks, the way he thinks, the whole thing. So he was a really good target for her. And I think she was setting him up. It's a sad thing for him. You wish that wouldn't happen. You wish there would be some saving grace that maybe some way she loved him. But that's so hard to believe after listening to all this and seeing what she's willing to do. It's too hard to believe. So, okay. So I wanted to target that recording. If you guys who don't want to be triggered, if you guys, if you don't want to watch it, let me give you the, let me go back to the right one. Come on. Okay. I'll give you the link. And then, so here's the link to the Amber and Johnny Depp begging not to cut himself. So there's the link to that. If you want to listen to the whole thing, I'm giving you fair warning. It's devastating. And now what I would like to do, I want to end this live, and then I'll be right back. As soon as I end it, I'm going to set up the other clip, which is yesterday's trial testimony. We're going to listen to the trial testimony, and I'm going to go through and kind of make some observations and analysis on what's happening in the courtroom. Okay. All right. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for listening to my little rant on Barry Morphew in the beginning. But I did feel like, I did need to give my opinion. I sort of washed over it a little bit the other day by reading the motion, but I didn't really tell you, how I was feeling and thinking about it. So wanted to put that out there. And again, I think they could have gone to trial and gotten a guilty jury. I think so. But, it just seems like the power of beast just didn't want that to happen. All right. I will be back maybe 5 minutes at the most, and we will go through Johnny Depp's testimony yesterday. Okay. All right. See y'all in a few minutes. Bye.